How did Mortimer manage to build his manor at the top of a rocky outcrop? Impressive.
Ah, my son. I was looking for you.
What can I do for you, Your Eminence?
I wanted to ask you. You are the son of Sara de Riche, aren't you? You see, your mother and I were supposed to meet here on this very spot. I was supposed to hand her a very important envelope. But I haven't seen her.
If only Mother had told me why she was coming here. Anyway, I ought to take the envelope. It might have something to do with her disappearance. Listen, if it will help, you can always give it to me.
Oh, more tutorials. This is an important dialogue affecting the story.
Thank you, my son. I'll bear that in mind. I'd rather deal with her directly. Don't take it personally. Would you happen to know if your mother has arrived yet?
Softly, softly.
Certainly, Your Eminence. Mother got here some time ago. I was hoping to find her when I arrived, but given the hour, she must be asleep by now.
Right. I shall see her tomorrow, then.
By the way, Your Eminence, I wasn't aware you knew my mother.
Ah, if you only knew, my son. I hold your mother in the highest regard. She has rendered great service to the church, and her help is invaluable. I hope that you will follow in her footsteps.
If only she had told me where she was headed.
Nonetheless, our exchanges have always been discreet, and I should like them to remain as such. If your mother wishes to speak to you about us one day, I will not mind if she does so.
That is very commendable. But since we work together on a daily basis, it's surely just an oversight.
Most certainly. You said you work together. What do you do exactly?
It's better to show discretion.
If you know my mother, you will understand that I cannot answer you, Your Eminence. I'm sorry, but...
Do not worry, my son. I perfectly understand, and I expected nothing less from you. Discretion and secrecy are both pillars of the organizations for which we work. You are the worthy son of Sarah.
All the same, it bothers me to see you in a quandary, Your Eminence. Is there any other solution? Look, if it's of any help, you can always leave your envelope with me and I'll give it to her as soon as I see her.
I hesitate. Up till now, we have always dealt with her in person, and that has always been successful. Do you think I should give it to you?
Well, asking about the contents seems like a road to failure. And the next option sounds unsure. Let's go with confidence.
Don't worry, Your Eminence. Your secret is safe with me. You know my mother's reputation. As her son, I will defend the de Riche's word with the same fervor.
Ah, I would expect nothing less. Listen to me, my child. If I give you the letter, can you promise me before God that no one other than your mother will read it?
Oh, I was getting bored without tutorials. You must succeed on the last step of a confrontation. That's it. Nothing else. My straight man detective can't bullshit his way out of this one.
I swear by the Almighty God to honor the promise that no one, but my mother shall cast her gaze upon your letter.
Good. Listen, let's stop there. I'm going to tell you a secret, Monsieur de Ricci. Your mother and I are organizing the escape of a large number of French priests who face a massacre organized by the accursed Republican tribunals. The church is literally being bled like a beast. Without your mother, hundreds of men of the cloth would have gone to the guillotine. She has made the services of your order available to us by organizing the priests' safe passage across the borders. Even if she does not share all our convictions, she always provided assistance. Young man, you can be proud to be her son. Be it only for her sake. Always respect your name. Here, the letter I spoke of. It includes a list of about 15 names ready for departure. Be quick. Remember to tell Sarah when you see her that time is short.
Well played. I'll decide later when I'm alone whether to look at what it contains.
We're interrupting to remind you not to hesitate. I received a trait out of this, haven't I? There was some pop-up. Where is it? Oh. Louis is going to master manipulation without putting any effort into it by the looks of it. Yeah, see, I only need one more point.
Lord Mortimer certainly has a taste for staging ruins. Blind Oedipus. Blinded himself. What a tragic destiny.
Let's check the other paintings for clues.
Saturn devouring his son. Good God, how awful. Everything in this painting is disturbing. It's the first time I've seen brushstrokes like this. Crucifixion of St. Peter. He was crucified upside down, out of humility. Surprising for an entrance hall.
The classical art. Deep, evocative, royalty-free. Now, this item reveals personality in a dialogue. Doesn't feel the journal as far as I remember, but I may be wrong.
Fall of the Damned by Rubens. The man who cannot achieve the salvation of God the Father is offered to fall into the depths of the abyss.
That doesn't sound like a fair deal.
Lives of the Noble Greeks and Romans by Plutarch, a biography of the great men.
Apparently, I lack the page-flipping skill. Louis, why did you close it? How are you going to read it later?
I thought my chimney was big, but this one is beyond belief.
It's the least one can say. I've been longing for a warm fire for ages.
Since I set foot on the island, I haven't ventured more than 2 yards away from it.
Have you also just arrived?
Oh, late morning, I'd say.
Louis, come join us. Monsieur, may I introduce you to Monseigneur His Eminence, Cardinal Piaggi. He joins us straight from Rome.
Oh, just call me Your Eminence. It's simpler.
George Washington, President of the United States of America.
Delighted at last to make your acquaintance, Mr. President.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. President. Louis Maurras de Ricci. It is an honor to meet you.
Young man, let's keep it simple, please. Let us forget our fancy titles. Nice to meet you, Louis.
I should imagine you never thought you'd be in such company.
I must admit that I didn't. It's the first time that I've ever met so many illustrious personalities.
And you haven't seen anything yet. Generally, when Lord Mortimer organizes one of his receptions, there are over a dozen people here.
They can't all be here yet, and you'll see, most of the time there's only the upper crust.
And I noticed you were already getting to know His Eminence at the entrance. It's the perfect place to build up a network. What were you talking about, if you forgive my indiscretion?
Well, aren't you one nosy bastard?
At the risk of disappointing you, we weren't conspiring in our corner, sir. His Eminence was simply telling me that he knew my mother and how much he held her in high esteem.
It so happens that Monsieur de Riche's mother is to join us.
Oh, pity. No scrumptious gossip or juicy tidbits, unmentionable secrets, or even money matters. But you'll see, it will come. Despite all the goodwill in the world, you can't stop people scheming left and right around here.
Speak for yourself, sir.
Well, my friends, do any of you know the reason why we're here this time?
Not in the slightest. As for me, I've been invited by Sir Holm, a close friend of Lord Mortimer, but I do not know the reason why.
You see, Louis, every time Lord Mortimer organises a reception, he always finds a moment to set up a chat with all the guests.
During which time we remake the world.
Accompanied by gallons of absinthe and cussing. I'll leave you to imagine the result.
So, if I understand rightly, Monsieur de Richet, you've come out here to join your mother. For what reason, exactly?
Like you, Mr. President, I'm here as a result of Lord Mortimer's invitation.
Two members of the same family here. That is rare.
You know what they say. You can pick your nose, but you can't pick your family.
Seriously, though, I know your mother well. Stay behind with me afterwards, and we'll take a moment to speak about her.
Good Lord! Washington is wearing the emblem of the Grand Master of the Golden Order. It's the highest distinction of the Order in the United States. It puts him on par with my mother. He must really know his stuff when it comes to the occult.
Good evening, my friends.
Holy shit! That's the man for my vision.
An urgent case has delayed our host, Lord Mortimer. He can't be present this evening, and he sends his deepest apologies.
He's asked me here and he hasn't even turned up? Great start. Do you know that man?
Sir Gregory Holm, an English aristocrat. Very influential. He's also close to Lord Mortimer. So don't be surprised if he acts like he's at home.
And now, my dear guests, a light meal is served in the small salon. For those who would like to, you're invited to follow me into the next room.
My dear fellow, you must have read my thoughts. I shall follow.
We'll have to be careful not to make too much noise. One of Lord Mortimer's guests is relaxing.
Oh, we shall be quiet.
Don't take it the wrong way, Sir Holm, but I have already eaten. Thus, I shall be happy to remain by the fireside.
If you don't mind, Gregory, I should like to keep Mr. Washington company.
Please feel at home. And you, sir?
If I stay with Washington, we'll be able to speak about my mother. But on the other hand, I'd like to learn more about this Holm. I saw him in my vision.
Washington's only arrived this morning, and Holm is basically a resident from the sound of it. He is definitely worth getting acquainted with.
My vision is more important. Let's follow Holm. I'll follow you, sir. Mr. Washington, I hope to speak with you at greater length on another occasion. Emily, please excuse me, but I would like to speak to Sir Holm. I shall see you later.
My friend, I hope our dear Giovanni is well.
The troubles in France have fatigued him, but he will recover slowly. Do not fear. He apologizes for remaining in Rome. The voyage was too much for him.
And right he was, too. The mildness of the Mediterranean, eh? Come, sit down and have something to eat, my friend. You look rather pale. Excuse me, sir. I have been neglecting my duty. I haven't introduced myself. Sir Gregory Holm, an old friend of Lord Mortimer's.
A real pleasure, sir.
You who must be well used to the court of France. How do you find this peaceful little haven?
Charming if I hadn't come here for disturbing reasons.
Yes, I heard the news. What a story.
Indeed. I wanted to ask you. You seem to know my mother well. Is that true?
Who does not know of her, sir? She has such a wide circle that everyone knows your mother from a distance or close up.
Everyone knows Sarah, my son.
But you only know her by her reputation.
I remember she once worked for the Crown of England and that she always honors her engagements. However, we have never been personally introduced, sadly.
Well, if I'm to believe my vision, you're not going to get along with her. Thank you for your answers, Sir Home, but I beg your pardon. I get the impression I know you. Have we met? Except in my dreams, of course.
Not that I remember, young man. Perhaps you're mistaking me for another member of the Chamber of Lords. And what with the wig and the powder, it wouldn't be the first time.
No, you were definitely the one I saw threatening my mother. I thought... Never mind. It'll come back to me. Would you allow me one last question, sir? I don't want to take up all your time.
Please, go ahead. What do you want to know?
Just one question. That's a tough one.
Do you know the reason for my mother's presence here?
I haven't the slightest idea, no. She was invited by Lord Mortimer.
But you don't know why?
Not really. I was given to understand that your mother was looking for something.
And do you know how long my mother and Lord Mortimer have known each other?
Several years, I believe. They seemed to know each other for quite a while. But it was the first time that Lord Mortimer had invited her to join us here.
Good. And finally, would it be possible for me to speak with Lord Mortimer this evening?
I'm terribly sorry, no, he really is quite unavailable. But please rest assured that everyone is doing their best to find your mother.
All the same, it's not the Chateau de Versailles. It can't be that difficult to find her.
Worry not, my son. I am persuaded that we shall find the famous Sarah de Riche. No doubt with new adventures to share, huh?
Elizabeth! I should have insisted that you rest in your room.
Do you want me to call someone?
I'm a detective, not a doctor.
I'd rather not get involved either. Just sit there a moment. It'll pass. She's slowly recovering.
These fits of hers are quite worrying to see, but normally there are no consequences.
No consequences? Have you seen the state she's in? Can you tell me something about her? Who is this young lady?
Elizabeth Adams. She's come to the island for a course of treatment, to rest.
For a course of treatment?
That's right. Sea air can do wonders. Are you all right, Elizabeth? Do you feel any better?
When did she arrive?
4 days ago.
Okay. My mother had already gone missing. She's just regained consciousness and she immediately reaches for her brooch? I don't know exactly what it means to her, but obviously it's got to be something important.
Are you all right, Elizabeth? You gave us quite a fright.
Take it easy, miss.
Let me... I just need to get back to my room.
Of course, my dear. Go ahead. You saw it, didn't you?
Pardon me?
I segni della bestia.
Sorry, Your Eminence. I don't speak Italian.
Forget it. It doesn't matter.
Gentlemen, it's getting late. It is time for everyone to go to bed. It has been a long day.
It's all the more delicate.
I'll see what I can do, but the case I'm on at the moment might well leave me with very few opportunities. Well, I am impressed with all this splendor.
But don't spend too much time with Mr. Washington, my dear, or you'll lose your pretty accent. You seem to be intrigued by that statue.
Absolutely. It is remarkable.
Oh, it's naughty to tell lies. Bet my life that you were talking about something totally different from the decoration of the manor. But to find out what, I should have stayed with them. Too bad.
Lord Mortimer is fond of atypical works of art. I won't disguise the fact that I find it all a little megalomaniacal. But I must say, he does have some outstanding pieces.
Sir Holm, who was that young lady with you?
Elizabeth Adams, Mr. President. She would have liked to have stayed with us, but the poor thing is exhausted.
Elizabeth Adams?
Just mentioning Elizabeth totally changed Washington's attitude. Looks like he just saw a ghost.
Miss Adams is here to rest. You have perhaps already come across her in the corridors. She arrived a few days ago.
I perceived her, but we weren't introduced.
Rest assured, she is not here for the same reasons as yourselves. Consequently, I'm counting on your indulgence.
Washington looks surprised, but Holmes doesn't seem to see it. I wonder if he's being polite or if he really doesn't see his discomfort.
On that note, it's very late. You must be exhausted. The servant will accompany you to your rooms.
Ladies, gentlemen, I bid you all good night. Mr. President, Your Eminence, Duchess, you have the same rooms as usual. You, Monsieur de Richet, will find your room at the end of the corridor.
Well, my friends, I am bone tired. I am off to my bed. See you in the morning.
Good night, sir. I shall do likewise.
Louis, I shall see you in the morning. Sleep well.
Good night. See you tomorrow.
Oh man, it's been quite a day. Right, where is my room?
Before I actually go to my room, I'm going to check out this floor. This is the guest area of the manor, and secret and shady private meetings are going to take place here, mostly. Elizabeth has quite a backstory. She's an officially stillborn daughter of the US Vice President Adams. She's also bipolar. Okay, maybe an interesting conversation. Who else did we meet? You may have heard of George Washington. And Sir Holmes looks like an alien in a poorly fitted human disguise. Although he is a British lord, so that's perfectly normal.
Duchess Emily Hillsborough.
Okay, I'm going to run in a circle around this floor and collect everything that's not nailed down. And in the meantime, I'll outline the plan for this Let's Play. So, the idea is that first I record a video of this detective run making certain choices.
Monsieur Napoleon Bonaparte.
Oh,
Monsieur Napoleon Bonaparte.
that's going to be epic. How will they fit the horse?
Monsieur Jacques Perreux.
Anyway, then I record another run, picking the opposite options with a different character class. Sometimes choices won't be binary, so I'll use...
A few leaves out of an old encyclopedia.
Oh yeah, some assembly is required for certain books. Anyway, sometimes choices won't be binary, so I'll use straw poll. Most likely, so that people can decide. There are negative status effects,
Golden
yes.
elixir. Consume without excess.
You get negative status effects if you
Decorum guy.
hit immunities. Don't pick your nose, Louis. Anyway, the second run will be obviously cut shorter than the first, just to show what's different. Mind, quite a lot may turn out differently. And as for the third save file, I'm going to use it to show off the third character class, but not competently. Yeah, I want to see how far you can get ignoring all the clues and failing at absolutely everything. Louis the Fail Son. So that's the general idea. Some things may change as I'm going, like maybe I'll save the idiot son run for the very end if it takes too much time.
Monsieur Johann van Vulna.
Mind, even with this approach, we won't be seeing everything in the council. It's got something like 7 endings or so, but a lot of major variations will be represented. This is one massive hallway. I'm going to save hours in my next videos cutting all the running between the rooms.
President George Washington.
One thing the council doesn't tell you among the many tutorials is that hardly any items appear on the map in the course of the game. Like, you find more stuff in new areas of the manor when you get there. But this hallway is not going to magically restock itself on recovery potions in each episode.
Great. Honey.
Oh yeah, the council consists of 5 episodes, but they're split into 16 portions, called
Monseigneur His Eminence Cardinal Piaggi.
Called quests.
Huh, that's me.
I've taken the long way to the room. Let's check out the rest of the hallway. Maybe there's a book, or a coin, or a poorly placed tutorial.
Duke Manuel Godoy.
Oh, wasn't there a letter with his name in the mailbox? Okay, Louis, go to your room.
Right. So what shall I do with this letter? It might be about my mother's disappearance. But if I open it, I'll be betraying Piaggi's trust. What should I do?
Unfortunately, I don't have the know-how to reseal the letter.
Damn. Can't wait to open it, but I gave my word to Piaggi, so... Too bad. I'll wait until I hand it to Mother. Wow. Nice room. Mortimer sure doesn't do things halfway.
This is a very handy item, for much later in the story, when some challenges have impossibly high stamina drain. You just chug a bottle of that and they're no problem. Actually, I have a full set of items now.
Amber crystals.
Louis can jump. Really, he's just very quick.
Inferno by Dante. Abandon hope, all ye who enter here. Lovely lectures Mortimer's giving to his guests. Very jolly.
Louis, you picked locks in the prologue.
Saint Jerome and the Angel. Yet again, art with political undertones with an image of a saint hearing voices. Judith beheading Holofernes. Ironic in a way, when you know that the artist represented herself as Judith beheading her mentor, who had raped her. Saturn devouring his son. Again? I saw the same theme in the hall. I wouldn't like to be his son. Saint Francis of Assisi in ecstasy, before superior voices. It always amuses me to see how art gets used for propaganda purposes. The Conversion of St. Paul by Caravaggio. It's incredible. It doesn't look like a copy, but I was sure the original was in Rome.
Let's go out on the balcony. I seem to remember that entering the bedroom triggers the end of the quest. No, I've already hit the limit on the royal jelly. The moon is full. Louis's mom is definitely a were squirrel.
A Chinese coin, recognizable by the hole in the middle. If I remember rightly, that's called a cash.
It's a bit disappointing, but not every coin has a lecture attached. Nice, I dodged the cutscene.
The torture of Ixion, condemned by the gods to lose his mind because of his arrogance.
Quest complete. A stellar performance, if I do say so myself. Let's hope it stays that way. Sweet, sweet experience. As planned, I'm sticking to the class skills, even though I'm only 1 point away from unlocking manipulation. Okay, now, how do I pick a book to read? Oh, it must be the next step. I'll read a class skill book on judging people by their faces. And now, I can't quit unless I start the next quest, so give me a moment. Wait a sec. I've unlocked a new talent. So, not eating a consumable teaches Louis manners. Have I mentioned that he can eat while talking to people? No? He can. No, I'll definitely leave exploring the talents for the next update. Now, let's move on to the vote. The two questions I'm putting to the audience this time are whether Louis II should be a diplomat or an occultist. The second question is a more interesting one. Should I also stick to the class skill, to the class skill set first and foremost? Or do I spread them out to cover both the diplomat and the occultist classes? I'm not sure for how many days the vote will run. I'll see how I set it up. And that aside, you're obviously going to see what happens when you don't listen to your mum in a life-threatening situation, and what George Washington and Emily were talking about. But who is Louis II going to be?